We have some big news in the world of vibe coding. So Codex now has a mobile application. They have been asking their users, what do you want from us? What do you want us to build? And every single time, every single thread, the answer was, we need a mobile app. It's done. We can now use ChatGPT Codex from our phone and connect directly into our computers, directly into our Mac Mini, directly into our laptop. Wherever you are doing your main Codex session, you can now continue that using mobile. I'm going to show you the news quickly, then I'm going to show you how you can set this up and how you can actually expand on this so that you can vibe code anywhere in the world and never lose your thread, never lose your chat, and continue your project regardless of where you are. So the news is this new application is out, or the new ability to use Codex within the normal ChatGPT app, which I personally prefer, all in one place. Now in preview, Codex in the ChatGPT mobile app. Start new work, review output, steer execution, and improve next steps, all from the ChatGPT mobile app. Codex will keep running on your laptop, Mac Mini, or DevBox. Wherever your main Codex session is running, your phone can now tap in and connect to it. Setup is pretty easy. Basically, it's going to be a QR code that you scan on your telephone, and it's going to connect directly. Now, why is this a big deal? If you vibe code, you might have this problem where you start a piece of work in one place and then you move and you switch onto your laptop, for example, or you switch onto your telephone or just onto a different computer, and you do not have the same chat thread. Yes, you might have access to the project files via GitHub. I'll talk about more of this later. But if you don't have that chat, you have to start a new chat and maybe you're going to lose some context, and there's a switching cost to that. So personally, I start my day in the office. So where I am right now in the studio, I will start off some Codex sessions here in the studio. I would then want to go and sit by the pool if the weather's nice, and I'm in Cyprus, so it generally is, or I want to go to a cafe. So I'll either be working on my laptop or my telephone, depending on where I am. That creates a bottleneck, and the bottleneck is me. It's me moving between different devices and therefore losing chats and not being able to continue my work as well as I would like to. That is a problem that is now being solved, yes, by the application, but also by something that I think a lot of people missed, the ability to link up your Codex so you can have your desktop and your laptop on the same sessions. Very, very important. And I think a lot of people have missed this. So I'm going to quickly walk you through how you set this all up so you can basically vibe code anywhere and not lose track. So the old mess, and I'm sure a lot of you know this, whether you're using Codex, Claude Code, doesn't really matter. Between different sessions, between different machines, you're going to end up with different chats, different threads, and they're all going to be doing different things. And it's very tricky to keep track of everything, especially if you have multiple agents on each device. So this is the mess I used to have. I used to have my MacBook. This one here would have a bunch of threads running on it, a bunch of agents all doing their own thing. I'd have my Mac Mini, which I'm not going to lift up because I'm streaming on it right now, which is always on. That would be for different projects, different context, and stuff that I would start while I'm at home. And then I would also have my telephone. On the telephone, that's where I might have a quick idea, and maybe I want to capture it, maybe I want to screenshot something, maybe I have a flash of inspiration. Up until now, it's quite tricky to go from the telephone back to my main computers. This was why OpenClaw was so exciting. This is why things like Hermes feel so exciting, because they allow us to be anywhere and to continue to interact with our AI. So back in December, January, OpenClaw exploded mainly for this reason: the ability to untether us from our one device, to be able to work anywhere and have this one centralized AI that knew what we were doing, and it was able to talk to us on different control surfaces and continue the work with us. So we didn't have to sit at our computer. But that is now being put into the main pieces of software that's been put into Codex, as we see with the release of the web application version, the mobile application. And as we've seen with Claude Code, with dispatch, remote control, and channels are the three different ways that you can remotely access Claude Code. A bit clunky, I'm not going to lie. So OpenClaw felt exciting because it allowed us to have that freedom. That has now come to us by default inside of our standard applications. Very, very exciting. So we now have the application on phone for ChatGPT. You can access your main Codex desktop. So that means what you're going to do, or you can see it in this image here, is you can literally connect your Codex to your MacBook Pro, to your iMac, to your Mac Mini, to your PC, to whatever control surface you are using, wherever you're running your Codex sessions, and you can remotely interact with them. You can have the work happening on that main computer, but controlled via your mobile phone. Very, very cool. That is out today. It's in a research preview right now, but unlike a lot of their research previews, it is available in Europe. So that's very exciting. I have not checked in the UK. Often they have a delayed release, but I'm in Europe and it's working immediately. So I think you should be able to use this right now. What you're going to do, and I would definitely spend an hour or so setting this up, and I will provide a written guide about how you do all of this, the technicals of it, in the newsletter, and also write up a PDF checklist so you can work through it. You're basically going to connect everything together, and there's a few different ways to do it. The simplest, I'll pull this up, you're going to connect your MacBook and your phone. If you're using Android, if you are using a non-MacBook, that's absolutely fine. Doesn't matter, as long as Codex runs on it, you'll be able to do it. And your GitHub, all connected to your home machine, the machine that is sitting in your house that is always on and is always accessible, connected to the internet. For me, it's a Mac Mini. And I see a lot of people saying, oh, this is the best use of your Mac Mini right now. You could do this with an old laptop. You can do this with a PC. You can do this with anything. So yes, you're going to see people talking about Mac Minis. Just know that you can do this on non-Mac Mini computers as well. That said, they are very, very good. So for me, I have a Mac Mini. Let's have a look. I have a Mac Mini Apple M4 Pro, 24 gigabytes of RAM. It's fine. It does the job. So that is my home machine. That is always on. That is always signed into Codex and always connected to the internet. I then have my MacBook. This is what I take to the cafe. This is what I sit by the pool with and continue working on sessions. How you're going to do that is inside of settings in Codex on your machines, you're going to find a tab which is called connections. Inside of connections, you can select control another device. Lots of people miss this. Control another device allows you to basically link up your different devices and to have access to each other's sessions. So do this on both your MacBook and on your Mac Mini. So your out and about computer and the computer that you're leaving at home, and they'll be able to control and interface with each other. Super, super important. Do that as well as downloading the new mobile application, and you're going to be able to basically use Codex anywhere at any time. Very, very, very cool. Also, make sure all of them are signed into the same GitHub. I have talked about GitHub. If you are just getting into vibe coding, just getting into building with artificial intelligence, you probably don't know what GitHub is. So I actually had a message in my private WhatsApp group saying, hey, just wondering if you've done a video on setting up and using GitHub. With people in this group now creating code, sometimes spending lots of money to create that code, I'm guessing GitHub becomes quite important. Yeah. So set up GitHub as your central repository that all of your projects can draw from. Then make sure that GitHub is accessible from all of your devices, so from your laptop and from your desktop computer. Connect them up using settings, connections, control of the device, and then you're going to have full coverage across your main devices. Then also add your telephone using the new release, which just came out from ChatGPT, Codex in the ChatGPT mobile app. If you have trouble doing any of this, make sure all your applications are fully updated. I've seen a lot of people on this Twitter thread being like, it's not working, I can't get it to work. Turns out that they just hadn't updated their Codex. Very, very simple. You can save yourself an awful lot of time doing that. So I will put together an actual technical guide about how you can do this. It will be in the newsletter on Monday. I'll also put together a little checklist so you can actually get this done. But this is the basics, what you're seeing on screen right now. Definitely spend an hour doing this because you're going to save yourself a huge amount of time. For me right now, I can start a job on my desktop. I will leave my home machine running. I will head off to a cafe or go to the pool. I say go to the pool, it's just outside my door. I'll walk over to my pool, get out my laptop and be able to access the same session that's on my computer, sitting in a dark room, but I'll be able to sit outside in the sun and continue working on it from there. Let's say that I then drive off and I go to a cafe, I go to the mall and whatever I do, and I've left my agent doing some work for me. I can then, on my telephone, check, make sure that they're on the right track, see what kind of work they've been doing, see if they need any guidance, send them a quick message on my phone. Again, this is like OpenClaw, very, very exciting, being untethered, and they will continue working for me. I will then come back home, check on my computer, merge everything, and basically free myself from the desktop while remaining fully productive. Very, very cool. And now available to everybody using the Codex application whereas before you had to set a lot of this up manually yourself. ChatGPT, OpenAI have seen what's happening and what people got excited about. Hell, they even hired Peter Steinberger of OpenClaw, and now they're implementing all of this into their own ecosystem. So make sure you set all of this up if you use Codex. If you are not using Codex, I recommend trying it. Even if you're a die-hard Claude Code fan, as I have been for the last, year and a half, I am now using Codex more than I use Claude Code. It is extremely good. And this most recent update, the new application version, just seals the deal for me. Again, this will all be in the newsletter. Make sure you subscribe to aiwithkyle.com, and that is free to subscribe, and there's a bunch of free courses and extra stuff that you're going to get alongside of that. And every day I put together these guides trying to give you the fundamentals of how to actually use artificial intelligence to build, create, become an entrepreneur, rather than getting too bogged down in the technical details. Although I know this is a little more technical than we normally get. So make sure you check the newsletter for the full guide and then just follow through, and it should be nice and simple. Awesome. Thank you so much, everybody.